Much obliged to have you join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We look at what's happening at the national level. On the national scale, we are seeing protest, pocket of protest in different parts of the country, and this is predicated on the harsh economic situation in Nigeria. High cost of living, hunger is on the rise, and all of these things are happening. Insecurity is on the rise. I mean, just imagine every KPI where Nigeria is actually doing well at the moment. But I think that, in a sense, protests may not necessarily be the way to go, because we've seen instances where this happened, properties are destroyed, and nothing changed. Is there a way better than some of these pockets of protest before it becomes a national problem that can be deployed to address this issue? Chris, let me start off with you.
Well, we wish the president could answer your question. Because why do people go and protest? People protest to vent spleens. When they are totally dissatisfied and they are making complaints and nobody is listening to them, and they are feeling marginalized, alienated from government, they are suffering hunger pangs, the insecurity is ravaging the land, and then people are asking the government, which way? It's almost a year. We elected you. We know you didn't tell us that you are coming to govern. You told us it was just your turn. But now that you have found yourself as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, executive powers are in your hands. There's so many things you can do. The CBN is under your control. NNPC is under your control. There are so many things you can do. Why are we continuing the narrative? Why did we have an election? We are continuing the narrative that we are supposed to have ended, which is why we had an election. And you said you were coming to do differently. And, so why are we continuing the narrative? There has not been any change. It's just one straight on journey we are running. Okay. So people now being tired, they have no other way to redress their grievances. Okay. I don't support violent protests and all of the things, that the collateral damage that go with it. But I'm just saying that there is a cause, and the cause is why people are protesting.
All right, Dr. Bishop Akalame, this is quite intriguing to see how these things have panned out, and several promises have been made, but none seems to be yielding the desired result. And all of this seems to have been triggered since the removal of fuel subsidy.
Yeah, also I must appreciate you for inviting me for today's program. But I must tell you that it is a national shame, a display of shame, total shame on the part of our leaders. I am very surprised. When you see leaders approaching issues and telling you, don't worry, we have a solution to our problem, it will not last longer. Then you see that people will have hope. It is not when a leader will come out and say, well, I know Nigerians are suffering, but you see, there's nothing I can do. It is a hopeless situation. When I listen to Mr. President with this statement, I just told myself, it is finished. Let me tell you something. When the people, you see, the protests you are seeing now, this is just the periphery, the genesis. I even want Nigerians to go to the market over. Let them buy food stuff. Let us stay in our home. Those who are working, let us stay in our house. Lock your doors. Irrespective of what you are doing in this country, let us stay indoors for 1 month, 3 months. How can you be a leader? Mr. President is behaving as if the presidency was forced on him. That Nigeria begged him to become our leader. The first thing you must do as a leader is that you must put your ego on check. I have studied him very well. I scored that nothing moved him. During the time of Jonathan, if economic policy is being formulated and there's public, there's what is called the people react, public opinion, before you know it, it will put it on reverse jar. You have to reverse it to ensure that the people are happy. You don't make policies and you are the only person happy and the people are suffering. Let's look at how all this is started. Ab initio, last. We are making, see, at times I look at it. Does it mean that the Mr. President does not have good economic advisors? First of all, we have made a lot of policies, policies that have put Nigeria in perpetual suffering today. Number one, you cannot float a currency of a country that is struggling to grow. It is an error, economically. See, we must know, If you must, you see, initially we fix the currency. It has been working for us because Nigeria is a growing economy. You cannot float the currency of a country with stable financial policy, monetary policy. But Nigeria is not yet in that category. They will talk about the America, the Germany, and the Austria, and the rest of them. We are still growing. Why are we? Because the currency, the naira is not competitive in the foreign exchange market because Nigeria is still a consuming country. We don't produce anything.
Mr. President met this situation on the ground.
Let me tell you something. It was never like this. Before the central bank had to remove the trading registration in the official market, you know how much was dollar. Now it's just like maybe Gigi. They put a good on online. I said, let the people decide how much it will be. The value of that product will now determine the price it will be in the market. That's exactly what is happening to the naira just now. If you look at it very well, it's called that the naira and the kwanza of the Angola have become the worst performing currency in the whole of South Africa. Look at Kosu. If you go to Ghana now, 50 Ghana cedis is 5,000 naira. In 2011, I was in Benin Republic, Port Noble. See, I didn't change my money to savings, to safer. I went there with naira. I went to a restaurant, I ate. I give that 200 naira. My brother, I ate. The mama said, I want to give you change. I said, wow. When I got to Golo, I went to buy a bag of rice. That bag of rice at that time, in that place, it was about 1,500 CFA. So 3 to 1, that means 4,500 naira. If you have 1,500 in Nigeria, you get to Benin Republic, as at that time, you have 4,500 naira. But today, if you're having 500,000 and you just cross the border, you get to Benin Republic, you have 250 CFA. So that means our money cannot longer function outside this country. Once you cross the national boundary, the naira is useless. Why? Because some people have decided to make policies that does not work well. Okay. Everything we import here. So the cost of production must increase. Okay. That is, by the way, let me summarize by saying this. Okay. We have another one, apart from this inflation that come aboard by the policy formulated by the government. We have what is called structural inflation. Because a particular sector of the economy, which is called the energy sector, has been disturbed. How will you remove fuel subsidies where there are no plans or grant? And yet, your finance are not working. Then you are bringing up palliative every now and then. These are cosmetic measures. Okay, let me pause you there. Quickly talk to me about these harsh realities. I mean, irrespective of the political divide, everyone is feeling the pangs of these economic policies. But it looks like it's a hopeless situation. I mean, from the indices on the ground. You want to subscribe to this?
Thank you very much. I wouldn't say it's quite unfortunate. Things at this time in the world is like this. When we say people protested, yes, understandable. It's not been easy for every one of us. There are need for us to wanting government to understand that hunger are there, and there is a need to quickly turn up what needed to be turned up. Agreeably, so long it's not politically motivated. But however, it's not a Nigerian affair right now. There are major crises in the world that have closed a lot of trades. They have closed a lot of importations. They have even closed the little we can even export. But when you cannot import freely and you can't export freely, not to even minding the ECOWAS crisis that have engulfed the African trade relations, there are things, even those who felt they have read economists, they should go beyond the normal plus and minus in evaluating the indices that have engulfed the society as it were. But however, Nigeria hunger cannot even only rely on the center. The center can only build, the center are majorly concerned with what we call capital activities. The concurrent issues, as it were, should come to the states and local as it were when it concerns the people. Now we have had over the time from the Jonathan days where Central Bank of Nigeria have over the time showed humanitarian concern to the ordinary people, where state governors have always pushed that through them, through we, they can get the succor. There are other agencies, including the World Bank itself, have been very concerned with African predicaments. Africa have continued to struggle and turn themselves to beggar. Understandably, sometimes we query leadership. Sometimes even followers are even worse problem. When we don't ask basic questions from whom we should ask, and we are asking who you are not supposed to ask. Now, for example, let me come downward.
Yes.
6 years, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, even since this government came in, we have had state government collecting trunks of millions, in short, in billions, from the federal government to build agricultural settlements at different points. At the time, for example, we had a time where the governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki, told us he was humbling and preparing a full free for all agricultural settlement in Edo North, Edo Central, and Edo South, where some respected persons were named to help them. Monies were voted in outside the normal one that even came from the central bank. They were budget to that effect to the State House of Assembly. Even at that time, some of us tried to say this was a family jamboree, an MOU that will not come to fusion. But some person said, why don't we give it a chance?
Yeah, but
today, I'm commissioner.
We are looking at protest against high cost of living.
High cost of living.
Issues that are coming
high cost living.
As a result of the direct policies of the federal government.
High cost of living
yes.
Come from insincerity. The policies of government, I can tell you, either way you look at it, there is no policies that wouldn't aim at helping the life of the ordinary Nigerian. No matter how you look at it, who are those who are to manage the policies? How then do we implement the policies? That is where the problems are. Are you telling me before now we have not had policies? Okay, the rest people, all their policies also fail. Now you have a policies probably with what evolved. We are talking about maybe 2-3 months that some policies have been changed. So you just feel, okay, I'm sure for our brother who's an economist, I've heard from the central bank 4 days ago after meeting with the Senate on the returns they have gotten of dollar, because dollar has been our problem. Even you go to occasion, people are spraying with dollar, they spray their dollar, the people they spray keep the dollars inside the house or keep it somewhere, they never even give it back to the society to evolve the business. And politicians are stocking dollars, these ones are stocking dollars. Let me tell you, the problem we have in this country is that we don't say the truth. And when we don't say the truth, we'll continue to blame the center.
So this is not the center, it's not the center problem.
No, the governor, if Edo State governor had produced the rice, the maize, the yam, the what have you that he voted our money for in billions, running in trillions, today we would have been harvesting, we would have been selling to neighboring states. And the hunger would have been subsided. For those who are protesting, all of us have every right to protest. May God help us and take us from where we are. May God even help the country. Okay. Because one, Russia, Ukraine fight cannot allow us have peace. Now in Africa, you have Egypt being a middle center to create the crime between Israel and Palestine. That one is there. Niger, Benin.
Is that why we are having this?
Yes, they are all economic issues.
Right, let me
and for the insecurity, let me quickly come in there because we talked about the insecurity. Yes, we thank God for the level of progress we have had in security. But sadly, he has now metamorphosed into the kidnapping section. Now in the kidnapping section, you don't expect federal government to start running from bush to bush. Now, when last did those state government give money to our security agencies and made it known? When now did he provide for economy with security for that they are collecting everything? We cannot continue to see all of this.
Okay, all right.
They are collecting money from banks, the whole of Akababa. They will collect money from all the banks on security matter monthly and annually. If they are not using them, and nobody is talking.
Can I pause you there?
Thank you.
I will come back to you. Let's try and stay focused on our conversation so that the discussion will have some level of meaning. But Manuel Moro, I know you've been waiting to make your contributions. I hope you can hear us loud and clear. Give us your take on these harsh economic realities and how the people are reacting, even though it's on a small scale in terms of the pocket of protests we've seen across the country. There are concerns that this could escalate if the government of the day doesn't nip it in the bud by bringing out policies beyond the palliatives to address them. You want to say something about that?
Thank you very much. I have last year made a preview of the year and of course what Nigerians should expect in the year 2024. And we cannot tell the citizens not to protest, not to question government, not to cry to the government when things are bad. Of course, it's a shared responsibility between the government and Now, I made a prediction that the year 2024 is going to start on a very, very tough note, and as the year progresses, it will be tougher. So we get to the toughest where citizens will perhaps can no longer bear the burden of what the economy is throwing on them. And this is just the tips of the iceberg. It's not the starting point. More of it will be unleashed when banks or multinationals begin to sack over 70% of their staffs, and then begin to downsize, so to say. But it is not far-fetched. This is a matter of policy and principle. The government of the day must realign itself to the campaign promises made in 2023. Now, in addressing this issue, you don't expect the cost of products in the market not to rise when there is a gross insecurity in the nation. Remember, we centered our discussion on this some time ago, that as long as insecurity persists in the nation, things will continue to nosedive and go wrong. The farmer in Edo State, the farmer in Benin State, the farmer in Borno, all of them can no longer go to the farm. Not just the peasant farmers, including those who have companies, farming institute, and all the rest of it. A lot of them are out. And then you expect products to get to the market, and then we still have the issue of energy, a main problem that we are facing. So you don't expect in the issue of petroleum today, there's hike in petroleum ever than we have ever noticed. The movement of goods, services from one point to another is now more expensive than it used to be. You don't expect all that to be on the platter. The effect of it tells on the citizens of the nation. And of course, I have to sincerely state that yes, in as much as the government of the day said she is trying her best to put in square pegs in square holes and all the rest of it, I want to agree that the best is not enough. We have to be proactive. Yes, we predicted that in the first 1 year of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, things will be tough, it will be tougher. Agreed. But again, we must begin to instill the hope of a brighter tomorrow on the people. People are not seeing the hope of the next minute, let alone the hope of tomorrow. And that is why you see them taking to the streets. You see everybody coming out amidst vast insecurity that we have never witnessed before in our nation's history, which has actually taken over the center stage in the past 8 years. APC-led government, and it seems there is no end to this insecurity. Farmers are no longer if you go to farms today, how many people do you see in farm? If you go back to the market today, a cow that was sold for 10 naira is now going for 50 naira. And people want to eat beef, people want to eat fish. Everything is on the increase. And so people have to cry. There was a video that was on the social media days ago. People thought it was a skit. It was not a skit. Where that guy was crying in Yoruba language saying, "Oh Lord, Lord, that's God. Where are we going to? How is he going to do it? His family, everybody." It was not a skit. It was just the sincere cry of a Nigerian. And then somebody caught this person on camera and put it out. This is just a tip of the iceberg. This is just one of the few that are going on. But I think if the government will get it right, it's not about Asiwaju. This is where we all get it wrong. The matter of security is not an Asiwaju issue. It's a Nigerian thing. Collective responsibility. I tell you today,
that would sound like you are exonerating Mr. President, who is the commander-in-chief. He calls the shot. Those he has appointed, if they're not living up to expectation, he has the responsibility to change them, to sack them, to dismiss them, and get on board people that have the capacity to deliver. One of the things that was credited to him was that he has the capacity to headhunt. I mean, look around the broad spectrum of Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria to get the best of the best to bring on board. What we have seen now, those he has appointed, they are not living up. We can't forget in a hurry the Betedu Gate, and a recent report by EFCC has outlined some of the monies that have been found in several of our accounts spread across different banks in Nigeria. So it means that proper scrutiny wasn't really done in the appointment of some of these ministers. So where is the head hunting capacity of Mr. President to bring the best of the best on board that will really change the narrative? If you're saying now this is not about the president, then it's about who? He was the one who told us that he wanted to serve. He wants to change the narrative. And by the time he came on board at his inauguration, the first thing he did was to remove fuel subsidy. And we have seen how the economy has nosedived. And since that time till now, the economy has not recovered. Nothing seems to have changed. But Manuel,
I am not exonerating the president from the whole of the issues on ground. What I'm saying is, yes, the president could look at CV and not look at the heart. He could look at CV and the CV could tell him this person is competent. But that is not where I'm going to. My point is this. I said we cannot take everything on him. The reason is this. Month in, month out, there are allocations to governors of the states that make up the federation. We are not asking these governors questions. For example, in our state, our governor is open to 750 million monthly as security votes. Other governors have up to $1 billion as security votes. What stops them from the security agencies in the states all the needed facilities for them to combat? You know what thing that the election regime, perhaps year in, year out, the election regime have come to expose is that every state have the capacity to combat crime. Remember Governor Wike once said, when he said the President Buhari should tell every governor to go back to their home and face the business of governor fighting security. That's somebody who had a testimony about it. Okay. When we face election, primaries or all the rest, you see the governors mobilizing securities. They will mobilize police, they mobilize DTS.
I'll get back to you in a moment. I'll get back to you in a moment as we look at the other side of the discussion. But let me just take final word on you, from you, on this debate about, we shouldn't blame the center alone. We should also look at the states and local government. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to use many words here, and I still won't. But as they say in African parable, when the thing becomes too much, even the blind will say it. Now, when people are talking, and they're talking ignorantly, if you say states get 750 million, do you have the records of that? And let us assume that you have the records from the internet or wherever you brought it. Now, do you have the record of the expenditure, of how the governor spends that money? You don't know that without the palliatives, without the subsidies and incentives that the governor is giving the federal police, you can't walk on the streets. Do you know how much is going into security in Edo State, for instance? The thing is that the nation has criminalized every youth on the streets. Do you know how many 419s we have in Edo State? Do you know how many court cases we tackle in Edo State? Do you know how many armed robbery cases we tackle in Edo State? You don't know that if the state does not support the police commissioners in many ways that you don't have access to, holding security meetings with the state security apparatus and the budgets that go into it. So it's enough to just say 750. What is 750 million? It just buys you cars. What if ammunition? Now, what is the real cause of insecurity in Nigeria? Almost everybody that has been arrested in the past 1 or 2 months are Fulani people. And it's mentioning Buhari. You think it's just vehicles on the road and guns that is security? The people that are arrested, who takes care of them? They are freed. They are all in our forest. That was Buhari's policy. They are still in our forest. So when we are talking of insecurity, we're not talking of armed robbers on the road. We're talking of kidnappings in our forest. Go to Onwa in the past 3 weeks. How many incidences do we have in Onwa? All the people that were arrested were Fulanis who were deployed here by Buhari. There's a northern agenda.
No, you cannot. Hold on. Chris,
I mean, they were arrested in my local government.
But you cannot substantiate. You said they were deployed here by Buhari.
Yes.
That's because fallacious.
I can't.
No, it's
not fallacious.
It's a spurious allegation. Because you don't have the evidential proof to that.
I have it. What do you mean by evidential proof?
You don't have it.
Physically, from Buhari, people were arrested.
Let's stay on course, Chris.
Yes. The people that have been arrested since the 8 years of Buhari, I have said it in your studio here several times. Show me one that was prosecuted. Okay. There was no one that was prosecuted. All the DPOs in Delta State during Buhari were all Fulanis. All the DPOs in all the police stations. What are we saying? Now, I can't begin to beg the questions when it comes to security because our lives that is in danger. So what you have is a Hydra head security, a monster unleashed by the previous government, and this government have not been able to settle down to handle it. That's what you have. And now when they thought that he's Yorubanizing the government, they started making rumbles in the north. And now they're trying to make the country ungovernable for you. We know what is happening. So for you to be talking of such complex matter because you think you have a problem with what do you call it, the governor of Edo State. It means you are trivializing the issue.
Okay, all right.
You know, it's a high.
All right. Let me proceed there, Chris. Dr. Bishop Akalame. We are here now. I believe that when you make a promise, you should work hard to fulfill that promise. Even if you don't or you can't fulfill that promise, we should see signs that something is being done for that promise to be fulfilled, even while you continue to make, lap over promises as relates to you fulfilling the promise that you have made. We don't seem to be seeing that with the present federal government. We don't seem to be seeing that. The Naira is falling daily. In fact, someone was telling me yesterday, if you didn't get married before the present government came on board, you are likely never going to get married in your life because of the current economic realities. For those who are already married, they are used to dealing with the problem, so they can try to survive, adjust, and all of that. But this is the reality we are talking about. Let me get your take on this quickly.
Nigeria begin to see now the days of Buhari as the better old days, good old days. These are days Nigerians were met, but today they begin to see those days as better old days. I can tell you that Nigeria have never had it so bad. So bad. You don't make sure somebody says if he doesn't marry, I will not get married. There are things we can't do now. If you don't have, you see, let me tell you something. If you have not built a house now, you can never build under this administration. Things are becoming worse. Even the manufacturing companies who have the country, they are packing up, they are moving, they are leaving the country. See, the point we are having is settlement. But there's something we must know, that before you belong to a political party, it is because of the existence of a country that give birth to a political party. That if that country does not exist, that political party will not exist anymore. That if it is when the country grows that the political party will be in existence. So the interest of the country must come first. We are not united on common purpose of the progress and development of Nigeria. So if Mr. Duke belongs to party A and the police in power, irrespective of the policy they have formulated, they are right. There's nothing wrong to a man who is eating from a corridor of power. Even when the policies are wrong. That's where we are.
Some don't even have access to eat. They still,
no, that's
support hook, line, and sinker.
That's why if we are patriotic, that's why today I'm very angry. I'm working on an article right now. Where are our professional bodies? The NBA, the ICANN, and the rest. These are association of elites. Where are these so-called young people quiet? Nigeria is collapsing. A giant of Africa has reduced in size. Nigeria is not a giant of Africa.
Okay.
Many things have gone wrong.
Okay.
And you are saying that the man that be British will not cry. Let me say something. You are talking about the state government. Let me come here. I am not in PDP. I am in a different political party, Labour Party. But I must tell you today we can pass through here to Auchi because of the effort of governing Obaseki. I told you on this program that before now, if I want to church, I have to go and do 7 days fasting. I'll go to the church. I'll have my Reverend Father to bless me before I got. As if I want to.
So you don't do that anymore?
I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Because the man works so well that today, look at
all right, let me proceed there. Collins, give me your last take on this. I mean, in reaction to some of the views expressed on the state of the economy. Before we look at the Edu 2024 quickly.
Yes, quickly. We talked about when subsidy was removed. Somebody fled on it. Probably subsidy brought problem. Subsidy have brought progress in Edo. Now, why have I not said that? For the past 14 years, the major highway from King Square axis to Delta State have been in extra quagmire situation. In short, if there's any word to use outside comatose, that is how it has been. But with the subsidy removal, as federal government has since said, if subsidy is removed, we can save some money to begin to build infrastructure. Now, if there is a market in Delta State where they need to produce food and bring to Edo, they can have an access road to it. And those kidnappers first will not have a free day blocking the road because they are bad, there are worse potholes on the road.
That road, is it completed
I am
now?
coming, sir. You plow through that road by the grace of God.
Is it completed?
I am coming.
Or is it under construction?
I am coming, sir.
Okay.
I am coming.
Okay.
Now today, you can see the kind of job that is ongoing. They can even guarantee you of 100 years. Right now, if you go within limits down to PZ houses, after PZ to SASI, you can. In short, people come down in the vehicle and hold their heads like this. Is this possible? After the stages of filling that was up to a well distance, up to over, how many meters can I even wait? Now, you saw the kind of rods that were being built. Now, they are reconcreting. The site of the concrete is as good as this. Even 20 trailers placed on top each other cannot even shake it. Now, these are the kind of benefits that come in when you have government. Now, when those infrastructure are completely built, you can then be sure that better days will come. Okay. On the area of insecurity, we cannot continue to mock ourselves because we are talking to the people.
So
I talk about the road, people fly through there.
We exercise patience.
When we talk about security too, you don't need to tell the people how far the government is working. By their fruit you shall know them. When Adams, for example, was in government, the government where I was part, we had something like Operation Thunderstorm, we had a joint security team where we give them vehicles annually, and the vehicles are not helping me push it and it will start. Okay. Or we don't share Sayana that are dead or sprayed or painted and give to security outfits to go on a major activity.
Look at
you don't do that.